My name is Haley, and today I turned 25. But instead of cake and balloons, I was in my nurse's uniform, running through the busy halls of St. Mary's Hospital. I didn't mind working a 12-hour shift because at least at the hospital, people respected me. My coworkers valued me, and patients appreciated me. Then my phone buzzed in my pocket with a text. I pulled it out, and it felt like the worst birthday gift anyone could give. The message was from my dad, Charles. "We sold your car. Family comes first. Be thankful you live at home rent-free." I froze in the middle of the hallway. My car. My old Honda Civic. The one I saved for 2 years to buy. I paid every penny for my own job. The title was in my name. That car was my pride, my freedom. And now, with just one text, it was gone. Before I could even take a deep breath, another text came. This one was even worse. "Your brother Aiden starts college next month. Tuition is $6,200. You'll pay it. Deadline is Friday." My hands shook. My chest felt heavy, like fire was burning inside. For years, I was used to my family taking from me. They took my paychecks, my scholarships, even birthday money from Grandma. But this time, on my birthday, they had taken my car, my only independence, and now wanted me to pay Aiden's entire tuition. I rushed into the hospital supply room so no one would see me cry. I called my dad, but it went straight to voicemail. Then I called my mom, Karen. After a few rings, she finally answered, pretending everything was normal. "Haley, I'm busy." "What is it?" she said. I could hear Aiden laughing in the background. "Mom," I asked, trying to keep my voice calm, "where's my car?" Dad texted me that he sold it. "But the title is in my name. I paid for it." There was a pause, and then she answered coldly. "Your dad handled it. The family needed money. You live here for free, so you should help out. A car is just a car. Take the bus." My throat felt tight, like it was closing. I snapped back, "That's my property. You can't just sell it. That's illegal." She sighed, like I was being dramatic. "Don't exaggerate. Your dad added his name to the registration months ago. You signed the papers, remember?" My stomach dropped. I remembered that rushed morning when Dad shoved papers at me before my shift, saying it was just a renewal. I signed without thinking. That was his trap. "And what about Aiden's tuition?" I demanded. "Why should I pay?" Her reply was calm, almost casual. "It's fair. We supported you all these years. Now it's your turn to give back. Your brother deserves a bright future. Families help each other." My anger exploded. "Fair?" I nearly screamed. "I've worked since I was 16. I paid for my own books, my own tuition. I even pay you rent every month. Aiden gets a brand new car, free food, and never lifts a finger. What's fair about that?" She cut me off, her tone sharp. "Don't be ungrateful, Haley. Without us, you'd have nothing. Your father has decided. Have the money by Friday." I stood frozen, my eyes burning with tears I refused to let fall. The truth hit me hard. To my parents, I wasn't their daughter. I was just a wallet. Always expected to give. Never allowed to keep. Then another notification popped up. This one was from Aiden. "Thanks in advance, sis. I already ordered my laptop. With you covering tuition, I don't have to worry. You're the best." My hands shook with rage as I stared at the screen. At that moment, something inside me snapped. I knew I couldn't keep living like this. This was the breaking point. I sat frozen in the supply room, Aiden's smug message still glowing on my phone. My heart pounded, and memories of my past came rushing in, reminding me this wasn't new. This was just the latest part of a long, unfair story. My dad, Charles, always acted like the boss of the house, like it was his company and we were his workers. He controlled everything. What we ate, what we wore, even when we could speak. My mom, Karen, never stood up to him. She just nodded along, no matter who got hurt. And then there was Aiden. My parents treated him like a prince who could do no wrong. He was spoiled from the very start. I was the opposite. No matter how hard I tried, I was never enough. At 16, I already had to work babysitting and at the grocery store to support myself. But when Aiden was 16, he got $200 sneakers just because his friends had them. If I ever said it wasn't fair, Dad would snap, a son needs investment. A daughter needs to learn responsibility. By 18, things got worse. Dad told me I had to start paying $450 rent every month. That money never went to the house. It just disappeared. Meanwhile, Aiden got a brand new $20,000 pickup truck for his birthday. I'll never forget when I won a small scholarship for community college. I earned it after months of working late shifts and studying all night. I was so happy. Until my parents said that scholarship only happened because of us. So the money should go to family needs. Within days, the scholarship money was gone. And once again, I was working nights to pay for my books. Even the memories I tried to hold on to were stolen from me. Before she passed away, my grandmother Evelyn gave me her pearl necklace. It was special, the only thing that felt truly mine. But a few months later, I saw it hanging around my mother's neck at a family gathering. When I asked about it, she brushed me off with a cold. In this family, everything is shared. Don't be selfish. I swallowed my tears and kept quiet. When I graduated from nursing school, my aunt gave me $1,000 as a gift. I thought I'd finally get to enjoy something for myself. But Dad claimed the money, saying the backyard needed repairs. That's a family priority, he insisted. I tried to fight back, but in the end, I had no choice but to give it to him. That was when I realized the truth. To my family, I wasn't a daughter. I was just their backup bank account. While I worked long, exhausting shifts at the hospital, Aiden got everything he wanted: the newest gaming systems, designer clothes, even a vacation to Florida before his finals. When I pointed out how unfair that was, Dad looked me straight in the eye and said words that cut deep. Aiden is the future of this family. You should just be grateful we let you live under this roof. Those words scarred me. And now, staring at a message telling me to pay over $6,000 for his tuition, I finally saw the truth. They were never going to stop taking from me. For years, I told myself to stay strong for the sake of family. But the truth was, I wasn't being loved, I was being used. My chest tightened as I leaned against the wall, memories fueling my anger. But mixed with that anger was something else: strength. If my parents thought I would break like before, they were wrong. A part of me had been beaten down for years, but another part, the strongest part, was waking up. Since I was young, no one in my family believed in me. They never thought I'd be more than a grocery store cashier. Dad always said bluntly, "Girls don't need to study so much. Just get married and that's enough." But instead of crushing me, those words made me more determined. I buried myself in textbooks, worked double shifts, and saved every penny for nursing school. Some mornings, I'd leave a night shift with bloodshot eyes, then rush straight to clinical practice. My classmates had parents to support them. I only had my own hands and stubborn determination. There were so many nights I wanted to quit. But every time I thought of patients who needed care, I pushed through. At 23, I finally became a registered nurse. Holding that license felt like breaking free from an invisible cage my family had built around me. At graduation, I cried. Not only from pride, but because I finally felt like I could write my own story. Mary's Hospital hired me as soon as I applied. I started with night shifts in the inpatient ward. The work was tough, endless emergencies, worried families, constant chaos. But every patient I helped was a step closer to freedom. After a year, my hard work paid off. I was promoted to charge nurse in pediatrics. When my supervisor told me, "Haley, you're not only skilled, you lead with confidence. This role is what you deserve," my chest warmed. It was the kind of praise I had always longed to hear from my parents, but never did. Outside of work, my proudest achievement was my car, the silver Honda Civic I bought myself. It wasn't new or fancy, but it was the result of 2 years of saving. I compared prices, researched carefully, and closed the deal on my own. The day I held the keys in my hand, I felt unstoppable. That car was proof I could stand on my own. I'll never forget the day I drove it home, the keys shining in the sunset. Dad only glanced at it and muttered, "If you had asked me, you could have gotten a better deal." Mom stayed silent. And Aiden smirked, saying, "An old car doesn't beat my truck." But I didn't care. To me, the Civic wasn't just a car. It was my declaration. I can take care of myself. As my job got steadier, I allowed myself little joys. A dress for a dinner with coworkers. Running shoes to clear my head. At the hospital, I was Haley, respected and valued. But at home, I was still invisible, nothing more than a walking wallet. I'll never forget my 24th birthday. My coworkers surprised me with cake during a shift. Amelia, one of the nurses, gave me a stethoscope-shaped keychain and said, "For someone who's shining bright." Those words nearly brought me to tears. After all these years, it was the first time anyone had truly seen me for who I was. My own family never had. Work, my career, and that car became my lifelines. They gave me strength to hold on a little longer as I saved money to finally move out. I had a plan, save enough for a deposit and 6 months of rent. I calculated it carefully, and freedom felt so close. But then, on my 25th birthday, everything crashed. They stripped away the one symbol of independence I had left, my car. After my shift, I had to take the bus home. Every stop dragged on, carrying my anger with it. When I finally stepped inside the house, the smell of barbecue filled the air. The table was set with polished dishes. My mom, Karen, had clearly prepared a fancy dinner. But I knew better. This wasn't for my birthday. This was just another setup for their demands. Dad sat in his recliner, eyes glued to the TV. Without even looking at me, he muttered, "Finally home. Sit down. We need to talk." I set my bag down, my voice steady but sharp. "I just want to know one thing. Where is my Honda Civic?" Charles didn't turn his head. "Sold it. The money's for more important things." Good timing, too. Aiden's tuition is due next week. Mom stepped out of the kitchen, wiping her hands on her apron. "Haley, don't ruin the mood. Eat first, then we'll talk." A bitter laugh slipped out of me. Ruin the mood? Mom, that car was mine. I paid for it. The title is in my name. No one had the right to sell it but me. This time, Dad finally looked me in the eye, almost daring me. "You signed the paperwork last month, remember? All I had to do was add my signature. That made it family property." I froze for a moment, then clenched my teeth. "You tricked me into signing. You said it was just registration renewal. You set me up to steal my car. That's forgery. That's fraud." Just then, Aiden came bouncing down the stairs, grinning like it was a joke. "Don't blow it out of proportion. I need that tuition paid. Mom and Dad already said you'd handle it, so why complain now?" I spun toward him, fire in my eyes. "Aiden, have you ever earned anything yourself? Your truck, your clothes, your tuition, all handed to you. Meanwhile, I've been working since I was 16. I've been paying rent since I was 18. And now, the one thing that was truly mine is gone." Mom cut in, her voice soft but heavy with pressure. "Haley, you have to understand. Family comes first. $6,200 isn't so much compared to everything we've done for you." I slammed my hand on the table. "Enough. You've already taken too much, my scholarship, my graduation money, even Grandma Evelyn's pearl necklace. And now my car. For years, you've treated me like a wallet, not a daughter." Dad shot to his feet, his face burning red. "You have two choices. 1, hand over the tuition money by Friday. Or 2, pack your things and leave. If you walk out, don't ever call yourself my daughter again." My heart pounded, but this time it wasn't fear. I met his glare with calm strength. "If family means lying and using me, then I'd rather not be your daughter. I'll leave and I won't come back." Aiden stared at me like I'd lost my mind. "You're serious? You'd walk out over some tuition money?" I turned to him, my voice like ice. "Not tuition. Betrayal." The car was the breaking point. Mom burst into tears, her usual wailing filling the room. "Haley, how can you be so cruel? Your father only wanted what's best for the family." I stopped at the bottom of the stairs, cutting her off. "Best for the family? Which family? Because all I see is everything revolving around one son, while the daughter gets drained dry. Don't call it sacrifice. Call it what it is, exploitation." Behind me, Dad roared, "You'll regret this for the rest of your life. Without family, you're nothing." I took a deep breath and answered firmly, "No. By leaving, I'll finally get to be myself." My heart hammered as I climbed the stairs, but each step felt lighter, like I was finally putting down a weight I had carried for too long. I slammed my bedroom door shut and leaned against it, my chest still racing. Dad's threats echoed below, but for once, I wasn't trembling. I knew one thing for certain: I was leaving this house, and I wouldn't look back. With shaky hands, but a sharper mind than ever, I unlocked my phone and called Rachel, my close coworker from pediatrics. She picked up almost instantly. "Haley." "Oh my God, you sound tense. What happened?" I took a deep breath. "Rachel, I can't stay here another day. Do you know anywhere with a room available? Even temporarily? I just need somewhere safe." Without hesitation, she replied, "My cousin mentioned an apartment on Maple Street. The landlord's fair, and you don't need a long-term lease. Want me to call right now?" Tears welled in my eyes, not from weakness, but because someone was finally standing by me. "Please, Rachel. I need to get out." After hanging up, I sat at my old desk and opened the locked drawer I'd been hiding for years. Inside were scraps of proof, the receipts, the evidence of everything my family had taken. There were rent receipts, $450 each month since I was 18, all signed by Dad. Over 6 years, that added up to nearly $30,000. I stacked them carefully. Next came bank statements, forced withdrawals for family needs. Roof repairs, a new fridge, even that Florida vacation they went on without me. More than $8,000 in total. Then there was paperwork for the $1,500 scholarship that should have been mine, but Dad and Mom made me deposit into their account. I clipped it together with a photocopy of Grandma Evelyn's pearl necklace, now around Mom's neck. I couldn't get the necklace back, but I had proof. I opened my laptop and built a spreadsheet. At the top, in bold, I typed assets and money taken. One by one, I listed each item, every date, every excuse. At the bottom, the final number glared at me, $43,200. My hand shook on the mouse. They hadn't just stolen money, they had stolen my freedom, my youth. That night, I barely slept. I photographed every document, saved multiple copies, and emailed them to a backup account. Then I wrote a 27-page report, listing every detail in clear, objective language. No emotion. Just facts. When it was done, I printed 3 copies, one to leave behind, one for a lawyer, one to take with me. By 2 a.m., I started packing. Clothes into 2 suitcases, my laptop and nursing license into a backpack. I pulled out the envelope where I had hidden my birth certificate, social security card, and passport. I had saved them for this day. I set everything neatly by the door. Then, as I folded some photos, I paused at a framed picture of Grandma Evelyn. Her kind face blurred through my tears. I remembered her whisper, "Know your worth, Haley. Don't let anyone take it from you." Tonight, her words guided me. Before lying down, I emailed my report to a law office a coworker had recommended. My note was short. My name is Haley Cooper, 25 years old, pediatric nurse at St. Mary's. I need advice regarding financial abuse within my family. Documents attached. When I hit send, I felt an unexpected lightness, like a weight sliding off my shoulders. As dawn approached, I placed one copy of the report in an envelope and set it on the dining table downstairs. On the outside, I taped a handwritten note. "Read carefully. This is everything you've taken from me." The house, once so familiar, now felt foreign. Every wall, every door was proof of the prison they had kept me in. I dragged my suitcases to the front door and looked back one last time. But instead of feeling sad, I felt a strong fire inside me. This time, I was finally free. Rachel was waiting outside her apartment building. The second she saw me, she ran over and hugged me tight. "You're safe now, Haley. Come inside and rest. Tomorrow morning, I'll take you to meet the landlord at Maple Street." I nodded, and for the first time in years, I felt like someone was really on my side. That night, I slept peacefully on Rachel's couch. No yelling. No cold stares. The next morning, I picked up my phone and froze. The screen was filled with messages. Over 30 missed calls from my parents. Dozens of texts, one after another. I read them quietly. From Charles. "Haley, get home immediately. You've gone too far. Come back before it's too late." Another one. Everything in that report you left is fake. No one will believe you. Then suddenly his tone changed. Daughter, come home. We can talk this through. We're still your family. From my mother, Karen. Haley, how could you do this to us? You've embarrassed the whole family. Think about your brother. Hours later, another message. I'm begging you, don't make this public. I can't stand the neighbors finding out. My chest hurt as I read, but it also felt cold inside. All they cared about was money and reputation, never about me. What shocked me most was a text from Aiden. At first, it was his usual way. You're being selfish. I need that money for school. But later that evening, another text. Sis, did Dad really sell your car? I saw the report. There are things I didn't know. If it's true, I'm sorry for always thinking you were just complaining. I sat frozen. For the first time, Aiden finally realized that his comfort came from the sacrifices I had been forced to make. That same day, I met attorney Elaine Peterson. She specialized in family financial abuse cases. I handed her my full 27-page report with receipts, bank statements, and photos of the forged car papers. Elaine flipped through the papers slowly, nodding. Haley, this is strong evidence. Your father forging your signature on the car title is fraud. This case can stand in court. And the money you were forced to pay over the years could be returned to you. I trembled, a mix of fear and relief washing over me. She continued. If you want, I can write a formal demand letter asking them to repay the money and the car's worth. If they refuse, we'll take them to court. I didn't even pause. Yes, I want to move forward. Not just for the money, but to prove I won't stay silent anymore. That afternoon, more messages came flooding in. My parents had changed their tone again. Charles wrote, "We can work something out. I'll return part of the money. Don't make this bigger." Karen begged, "Haley, please don't take us to court. The family can't survive this." I set my phone down calmly. For the first time, the power was finally in my hands. Aiden texted again. Sis, I read everything you left. If it's all true, I can't believe Mom and Dad did that to you. I'm sorry. I never knew you suffered so much. I didn't reply right away, but deep inside, I felt a small spark of hope. Maybe my brother was finally seeing the truth. That night, Rachel and I sat on her small balcony. The streetlights glowed softly. She looked me in the eye and said, Haley, you've taken a huge step. Don't ever go back. You deserve a fair life. I nodded, my eyes stinging, but my resolve was stronger than ever. Within days, Elaine's demand letter was sent. My family fell into chaos. I knew from the endless messages that followed. They spun between anger, guilt, and begging. But this time, I wasn't shaken. I had the law with me, my friends behind me, and most importantly, the strength I didn't know I had. Just 2 weeks after leaving, I signed a lease for a small one-bedroom apartment near downtown. It wasn't big, but it was bright, with a tiny balcony facing the park. When I stepped inside, my throat tightened. For plain walls, a brand new bed, a dining table that still smelled of fresh wood. All of it was mine, and nobody could touch it. I started buying little things one by one. A small coffee maker, a simple bookshelf for my papers, a few green plants to bring warmth. Every item was bought with my own hard-earned money. Each time I opened a new box, pride filled my chest. Meanwhile, Elaine kept pushing the case. My parents first denied everything, then tried to blame others. But when faced with undeniable proof, the forged papers, the rent receipts, they had no choice but to negotiate. After tense talks, they finally agreed to pay me back $38,000. When Elaine handed me the check, my hand shook. Part of me felt victory. Another part felt grief. Because the people I had to fight in court were my own parents. But I knew this wasn't only about money. It was proof that I had been abused and used for years, and now I had broken free. I split the money into 3 clear parts. The first went to buying a car. Not fancy, just a reliable used Mazda 3. But when I sat behind the wheel, I felt reborn. This car wasn't just transportation. It was freedom. I dragged my suitcases to the front door and looked back one last time. But instead of feeling sad, I felt a strong fire inside me. This time, I was finally free. Rachel was waiting outside her apartment building. The second she saw me, she ran over and hugged me tight. "You're safe now, Haley. Come inside and rest. Tomorrow morning, I'll take you to meet the landlord at Maple Street." I nodded, and for the first time in years, I felt like someone was really on my side. That night, I slept peacefully on Rachel's couch. No yelling. No cold stares. The next morning, I picked up my phone and froze. The screen was filled with messages. Over 30 missed calls from my parents. Dozens of texts, one after another. I read them quietly. From Charles. "Haley, get home immediately. You've gone too far. Come back before it's too late." Another one. "Everything in that report you left is fake. No one will believe you." Then suddenly his tone changed. "Daughter, come home. We can talk this through. We're still your family." From my mother, Karen. "Haley, how could you do this to us? You've embarrassed the whole family. Think about your brother." Hours later, another message. "I'm begging you, don't make this public. I can't stand the neighbors finding out." My chest hurt as I read, but it also felt cold inside. All they cared about was money and reputation, never about me. What shocked me most was a text from Aiden. At first, it was his usual way. "You're being selfish. I need that money for school." But later that evening, another text. "Sis, did Dad really sell your car? I saw the report. There are things I didn't know. If it's true, I'm sorry for always thinking you were just complaining." I sat frozen. For the first time, Aiden finally realized that his comfort came from the sacrifices I had been forced to make. That same day, I met attorney Elaine Peterson. She specialized in family financial abuse cases. I handed her my full 27-page report with receipts, bank statements, and photos of the forged car papers. Elaine flipped through the papers slowly, nodding. "Haley, this is strong evidence. Your father forging your signature on the car title is fraud. This case can stand in court, and the money you were forced to pay over the years could be returned to you." I trembled, a mix of fear and relief washing over me. She continued, "If you want, I can write a formal demand letter asking them to repay the money and the car's worth. If they refuse, we'll take them to court." I didn't even pause. Yes, I want to move forward. Not just for the money, but to prove I won't stay silent anymore. That afternoon, more messages came flooding in. My parents had changed their tone again. Charles wrote, "We can work something out. I'll return part of the money. Don't make this bigger." Karen begged, "Haley, please don't take us to court. The family can't survive this." I set my phone down calmly. For the first time, the power was finally in my hands. Aiden texted again. "Sis, I read everything you left. If it's all true, I can't believe Mom and Dad did that to you. I'm sorry. I never knew you suffered so much." I didn't reply right away, but deep inside, I felt a small spark of hope. Maybe my brother was finally seeing the truth. That night, Rachel and I sat on her small balcony. The streetlights glowed softly. She looked me in the eye and said, "Haley, you've taken a huge step. Don't ever go back. You deserve a fair life." I nodded, my eyes stinging, but my resolve was stronger than ever. Within days, Elaine's demand letter was sent. My family fell into chaos. I knew from the endless messages that followed. They spun between anger, guilt, and begging. But this time, I wasn't shaken. I had the law with me, my friends behind me, and most importantly, the strength I didn't know I had. Just 2 weeks after leaving, I signed a lease for a small one-bedroom apartment near downtown. It wasn't big, but it was bright, with a tiny balcony facing the park. When I stepped inside, my throat tightened. For plain walls, a brand new bed, a dining table that still smelled of fresh wood. All of it was mine, and nobody could touch it. I started buying little things one by one. A small coffee maker, a simple bookshelf for my papers, a few green plants to bring warmth. Every item was bought with my own hard-earned money. Each time I opened a new box, pride filled my chest. Meanwhile, Elaine kept pushing the case. My parents first denied everything, then tried to blame others. But when faced with undeniable proof, the forged papers, the rent receipts, they had no choice but to negotiate. After tense talks, They finally agreed to pay me back $38,000. When Elaine handed me the check, my hand shook. Part of me felt victory. Another part felt grief. Because the people I had to fight in court were my own parents. But I knew this wasn't only about money. It was proof that I had been abused and used for years, and now I had broken free. I split the money into 3 clear parts. The first went to buying a car. Not fancy, just a reliable used Mazda 3. But when I sat behind the wheel, I felt reborn. This car wasn't just transportation. It was freedom. It was my way of saying that no one would ever control or stop me again. The second part of the money I saved in an emergency account. That was my promise to myself that I would never again be left helpless or under someone else's financial control. The last part one used to pay off my student loans, finally removing a weight that had been hanging over my future. For the first time ever, the road ahead looked clear instead of heavy and suffocating. During this time, Aiden tried reaching out many times. At first, I didn't reply. But then one late night, I got a long message from him. "Haley," he wrote, "I know I've lived with advantages without ever thinking about what you gave up. I'm truly sorry for being blind, for calling you bitter. After reading everything you left behind, I finally understand how much you carried. I don't expect forgiveness right away, but I want you to know that I regret it deeply." I read that message again and again, my heart torn between the pain of the past and the relief of his honesty. The next day, I agreed to meet him at a small cafe near the hospital. When he sat across from me, he didn't wear that proud or smug look anymore. His head was lowered, and his voice shook as he spoke. "I was wrong. I always took without asking if you could even handle it. But I honestly didn't know Mom and Dad had gone that far." I stayed quiet for a while before I finally replied, "What I need isn't just empty apologies. What I need is for you to change. Don't follow the same path they did." Aiden nodded. His eyes were filled with a sincerity I hadn't seen in years. For the first time, I felt there might be a chance to rebuild a true brother-sister bond. Months passed, and my new life slowly found balance. In the mornings, I drove to the hospital without fear or dread, no longer scared of the demands that used to wait for me at home. In the evenings, I came back to my warm little apartment, made myself coffee, and read on the balcony. It wasn't a life of luxury, but it was a life of freedom. Friends like Rachel and Amelia often visited me. They brought little decorations or helped me cook dinner. They told me, "Haley, this is what real family looks like, the people who respect you and support you." I smiled softly, agreeing in my heart. But the story of what happened with my family spread much faster than I thought it would. In the small community where my parents lived, soon everyone knew that Charles had forged my signature just to sell his own daughter's car. The 27-page report I left behind didn't just shock them. It destroyed the perfect image they had built for years. Everyone had always seen them as the model family of the neighborhood, the strict and respected father, the beautiful mother, the successful son. But when the truth came out, that image shattered completely. Relatives began whispering. Some even called me directly, asking bluntly, "Haley, is everything you wrote true?" I didn't hesitate. True down to the last detail. Otherwise, the court would never have ordered them to pay damages. My words spread like sparks in dry grass. Slowly, my parents lost all respect in the family. Aunt Margaret told me that during one family gathering, my uncle said out loud, "Charles, instead of raising both children equally, you made one into a victim." Now the whole neighborhood knows the truth. My father's face turned red, and he stormed out. My mother just stared at the floor, too ashamed to speak. After that, they stopped showing up at family gatherings altogether. Their financial life fell apart too. After paying me $38,000 in restitution plus the legal fees, they quickly sank into debt. Even their big, beautiful house, the one they always bragged about, ended up with a "for sale" sign outside. When I heard the news, I didn't feel satisfaction. Instead, it hurt in a deep, bitter way. I had given so much of myself to that house and that family, but they had never valued it. Now, they were the ones paying the price. One late afternoon, as I left the hospital, I received a package in the mail. It was from my old home address. Inside was a small velvet box. My breath caught when I opened it. Inside was the pearl necklace Grandma Evelyn had given me. With it was a tiny scrap of paper, written in my mother's handwriting. "Returning this to you. I'm sorry." I sat in silence for a long time, holding it. It wasn't a full apology for all the years of using me and exploiting me, but it was at least a sign that my mother, in her own way, was admitting she had been wrong. I held the necklace tightly in my hand as tears rolled down my cheeks. But deep inside, I knew a piece of jewelry could never heal wounds that were carved so deeply. My relationship with my parents stayed distant. Sometimes my mother would send a short message asking about my health, but she never truly faced her mistakes. My father remained silent, holding onto his pride as tightly as ever. I stopped hoping for their approval or love. That distance was necessary for my peace. Instead, it was Aunt Margaret, my mother's younger sister, who stood by me. Since everything had happened, she called me often, telling me gently, "Haley, you weren't wrong for standing up for yourself. You did something many people in our family were too scared to do." Aunt Margaret told me this again and again. She often came to my apartment, bringing hot meals and gentle advice. In her, I felt the love of a real mother, a mother who cared without conditions, without asking for anything back. At the hospital, my friends gave me the same kind of strength. Rachel, Amelia, and the other nurses would joke with me, saying, "Haley, now you have two families, one at work and one here on Maple Street." I laughed with them, but inside my heart was full of thanks. Slowly, I began to understand, family isn't just about blood. Family is the people who choose to stay with you, especially when you are at your weakest. Every time I drove past my old neighborhood and saw the for sale sign still hanging on my parents' house, I didn't feel the sharp pain I once did. Instead, I felt calm. That sign wasn't just a board. It was proof. Proof that lies and cruelty always bring a price. My parents had lost what they valued most, their reputation. And me? I had gained what mattered most, my freedom and my dignity. One night, I wore Grandma Evelyn's pearl necklace while walking in the park. The moonlight shined on each bead, and I felt something powerful. No matter how much I had lost, I still had my self-respect. I still had the strength to stand tall. And this time, no one could ever take that away from me. Every morning in my little apartment, I wake up with one clear thought. I am finally free. No one tells me how much money I must hand over. No one takes credit for my hard work. I cook my own breakfast. I drive my little Mazda 3 to the hospital. And at the end of the day, I return to a place that is completely mine. It is not fancy, but it is peace, a kind of peace I never thought I would have. With time, I learned something very important. Just because someone is your family by blood doesn't mean they will love you unconditionally. For years, I kept trying to prove myself to my parents. I believed that if I gave up just a little more, if I sacrificed a little harder, they would finally look at me with warmth. But no matter how much I gave, their demands only grew bigger. Now I finally know. Love cannot survive where there is control. Love cannot grow where everything is measured and calculated. What saved me was the people around me. While my parents turned their backs, my friends stood strong beside me. Rachel, Amelia, and my coworkers even threw a small housewarming party when I moved into my new place. They brought simple gifts, a photo frame, a small plant, a set of curtains. I cried in their arms that night, realizing something. Family is not about blood. Family is the people who stand with you, who respect you, who love you without asking for anything in return. Aunt Margaret became another anchor in my life. She never directly attacked my mother, but she never denied the truth either. One day, she looked into my eyes and said, "Haley, you've been braver than our whole generation. We were taught to stay silent for the sake of family. But you've shown that silence only causes more harm. I'm proud of you." Her words made me see myself differently. I wasn't just a rebel. I was building a new path, one based on respect and healthy boundaries. I also learned to manage my money wisely. Every paycheck was divided into 3 parts, one for emergencies, one to pay off student loans, and the rest for little joys. A new dress to feel confident, a yoga class on weekends, a hiking trip to clear my head. Every dollar I spent came from my own hard work. And for the first time in my life, I didn't fear that someone would come and take it away. Even my relationship with Aiden started to change. He called sometimes, not to demand, but just to ask how I was doing. Once, he sighed and told me, "Sis, I'm starting to understand what it means to stand on my own. These student loans are heavy, but I think it's something I need to carry. I can't keep depending on others forever." Hearing him say that softened my heart. At least he was learning the lesson I had learned the hardest way. As for my parents, I kept my distance. I didn't carry hate, but I also knew I couldn't let them back in unless they truly changed. Maybe they would never admit their mistakes. Maybe they would never say the words I wanted to hear. But it didn't matter anymore. What mattered was that I had learned how to protect myself, my heart, and everything that was mine. Now, when I look back, I don't see myself as a victim. I see myself as a survivor, and even more than that, the winner of my own story. True family are the people who respect your limits, who celebrate your wins instead of being jealous or taking from you. I once thought I would always be trapped in my parents' cycle. But today, I stand tall on my own 2 feet. Every evening, when I step out onto my little balcony and breathe in the fresh air, I know one thing for sure: freedom, both financial and emotional, is the greatest gift I could ever give myself. After years of being stripped of it, I finally claimed it back. Haley's journey shows a hard truth that many people in the real world also face. Family ties do not always mean real love. Some families use duty as a mask to cover up exploitation, turning children into tools instead of respecting them as people. But Haley's story also gives hope. It shows that everyone has the right to say enough, to set boundaries, and to build a home filled with fairness, trust, and love. Real freedom only comes with independence. What do you think about Haley's journey? Do you agree with the choices she made? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to follow this channel for more powerful family stories and lessons.